This is the morning after with Chris. I'm Krystal. This is Jane. How are you?
Great, thanks.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, so interesting story. I've been a matchmaker for coming on to 15 years. You were the first matchmaker I met with when I started, and now you are on my team.
Oh, isn't I know?
It's
Full
amazing.
circle, eh?
Yes, full circle. And we're
Yeah.
talking about dating full circle,
Oh my
basically.
gosh.
Yeah.
Still.
So, yes,
Yeah, still.
it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Has dating changed, like since you've started in this industry to now?
Yes, for sure. I mean, that was 25 years ago when I started. I mean, not to try to date myself, but I mean, there wasn't even, a lot of people didn't even have emails back then. There were
Right.
no online apps. It was just, dawn before time. You
Make a
go out
phone
and meet
call and
people.
go out.
Make
Yeah.
a phone call, you go out. So,
So what was
big
matchmaking like then? Like what did you do? Like how did you set up a date?
well, I met people, got to know them, and then I matched them based on the criteria they were looking for. So it's not any algorithm that
So that
was
hasn't
technology.
changed.
Yeah. No, it hasn't changed.
Yeah.
It's just the tools that we use now are different, right?
Yeah, yeah. And that is the amazing thing about matchmaking is that it is traditional. It's still the same, essentially, just different tools.
That's right. It's a centuries old profession.
Yeah. Do you like the idea of dating now compared to then?
For my clients?
Yeah.
Okay, let's get that straight. Yeah.
Well, or
Yeah.
for you, like what?
Or for me. Yeah. Well, I think things have changed for sure.
It's
Uh,
harder.
the fact that because the internet's given a false sense of what the reality are out there, people can go online, look at somebody, swipe left, right. Next thing you know, they're like, okay, on it an hour later, and they think
Yeah.
there's that much more choice, so nobody really settles.
No. But I also feel like if people are online, yeah, there's like lots of options like readily available you can view and stuff, but and sometimes you do get like immediate response. You can go out that day, but it's kind of like that might happen once, but that will not always keep happening.
Yeah, it's rare that happens. I think a lot of
Yeah.
people end up texting. It's
And
it's
not
the new
meeting.
dating, right?
Yeah, or catfishing or
Well, there's fake profiles.
yeah.
And people put their profiles up there, and it's them putting their what they think of themselves, right? So could be old photos. That's a huge one.
I love those sometimes when we can see in the photo that it was old. And that is hilarious to me. Like when you look at a photo, I'm like, you can tell this was taken 10 or 20 years ago.
Yeah. Well, most times you can tell, but sometimes people are really gullible, right? People believe what they see.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
can tell, but if you're
Yeah.
online, you may not notice it as much.
No.
Especially if the photo is like consistent. Like if they're consistently all from that time period.
Yeah.
Yeah, then you don't know.
Yeah. And, people like to feel younger than they really are. So they feel like they look good in this photo, but it really isn't how they're going to show up on the date.
What I would really love to know about is like when clients come to you after they've been married for like 20, 30 years and then they're just starting to date or, if they were widowed or
Right.
they don't know what it's like to online date. They miss that whole period of that happening.
Well, a lot of them haven't dated since high school.
Yeah.
So, they don't even know where to get started. But, when I talk to singles who in the past have, they're back in the dating game, the best thing is to really take a check. Are you really ready to date? Because the biggest mistakes that 60 plus do is they
They're not
jump
ready.
right in. They're not ready.
Well, how do you think someone knows if they're ready?
I think that, they're ready to make the investment in it in the aspect of the time to actually go out and meet people. Part of the process that we do as matchmakers is actually face-to-face dating, right? So
Yeah.
instead of hiding behind technology,
Yeah.
it's, okay, are you ready to get up, get dressed, show up for a date, right?
Yeah.
And people just coffee dates, yeah, forget it. That's not dating. Texting, coffee dates, watching a Netflix is not the new dating, right?
What do you think real dating is?
Face to face. Same as it used to be.
So a coffee date counts. Like, even though in your mind you feel like it's not a date. And I remember during COVID, coffee dates were promoted, like getting a coffee and going for a walk.
Yeah.
And then after COVID ended, you're like, oh, let's get back to high value dates where you're actually going out and having a dinner. You know, it doesn't need to be expensive, but
Right.
like shifting from the coffee walk or whatever to an actual date.
Right.
But people, since then, I do feel like a lot of people love the coffee date because they feel like they have that date or that walk for 20, 30 minutes and they feel like they know enough from that to decide, should I go out with them again?
Which is a big mistake, I think.
Yes,
Right?
I do too.
20-minute, you can't get to know someone. Because really, you've got like, what, 10 seconds to make an opinion on someone. And people throw the baby out with the bathwater before they even get to know someone.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are nervous. You know, they have getting back to starting to date again, or widowed, first time they've gone on a date, 40 years.
Yeah.
They're nervous. So they might not be bringing their best self to a coffee date.
No, like, I mean, even for me, like if I were on a coffee walking date, like I might not necessarily be nervous, but just like my personality type, like I'm going to be looking at things around me. Oh, there's a dog. Like I have ADD. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So how can you be super focused when you're walking next to somebody holding a coffee and super engaged?
You can't really.
You can't.
No.
No.
Sure, it was fine through COVID.
Yeah.
And activity dates are always a good thing. So if you have some things in common.
Yeah, but an activity date, you're not focused on each
Yeah,
other.
but typically for a second date, it's probably the best thing, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes even just getting out and meeting for a drink, you know, or, you know, at a lounge somewhere. That the environment's a little different.
Relaxed.
It's not a Starbucks and it just doesn't have a good dynamic.
Yeah.
It's not fun.
No.
No.
Like, when do you think dating's more fun? Like, what age range would you think? Like, you've seen all these people dating through all these years. Like, what's the most fun?
Well, I guess each has its own,
Yeah.
right? And each era, generation, I guess you want to call it, has a different reason for dating as well.
Yeah.
So I worked with this family once, and there was the granddaughter, the daughter, and the grandmother.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, so it was like 30, 50, and she was late 70s, I guess. And they were all single, and they hired me to work for them as a family. And it was quite interesting, the different criteria that each would set. Now, the younger one, she's looking for a baby daddy, right?
Yeah.
Someone to provide for her. The 50-year-old, she was 55 plus, she was looking for someone to just go have fun, you know,
Yeah.
go out for dinners, travel, have fun. And the grandmom, she was looking for someone who lived close to home and she could bake for.
Aw.
Yeah, it was really sweet. But there's the different dynamics,
Yeah.
right? So
So it can be fun at any age.
it
It's
can be
just
totally
different.
fun at any
Yeah.
age.
What about
Yeah.
sex?
Sex?
Like, do you think it's better?
Well, sex is a basic basis for any relationship, really.
Yeah.
I think that as we get older, sex is part of the process, but you need to connect through communication more before you have sex.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of clients that actually, that's top of their criteria. Like most of the gents that I talk to that are 60 plus, I still have sex, you know, and I don't
Yeah.
take Viagra.
Yeah.
You know, they make it
Good for
known.
them.
I'm like, okay, too much information.
I
but
know. I'm like,
thank
please
you.
don't tell me
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So,
Oh, sex can mean different things at different times. Like, obviously, when you're if you haven't had kids, you need to have
Yeah,
you need
you
to have
need-
sex to have kids,
Yeah.
right? And then, you know, when you're in your 50, you've already had your kids and you want to enjoy it, and it's a big part of connecting. But then when you get to your 60s, you're also looking for more companionship because you want to, you know,
right.
someone to spend
It's
the day
that
with.
connection, I think, through the communication that will lead to the sex, you know, for people who are older.
Yeah. You know, when clients come to us and they say, like, we ask them the question, would you date someone who's been married, divorced, separated, widowed? And if they always say, oh, I don't want to date anybody who's, you know, 40 and never been
Yeah.
married. Like, what are your thoughts
Well,
on
you
that?
could, if I had a $20 bill for everybody that I said that to and literally see their faces go white, never been married, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But, I think it's, especially for the 55 plus crowd, sometimes it just means he's more established in it. It's
In
not a bad
career.
thing.
Yeah. You
And he
know,
probably mostly knows what he's looking for.
well, you hope at that point. Like, I don't know, dating's changed a lot, even just for me. I'm in a younger group, but I feel like we get these people who, yes, they're in their 30s, they've never been married, they want to have kids. And then the 40s, it's like maybe they haven't been married yet, or they are married waiting to get divorced.
Yeah.
And right. So it's like, oh, I mean, I've never been married, but I do have a child. I've been in committed relationships. So I feel like if I was to meet somebody now and
Yeah.
he was, let's say 50, never been married, if he hadn't been common law, if he didn't have any kids, I would wonder, like, if there wasn't some,
What if he was ready to make a commitment?
yeah, I guess, well,
Tell me.
what would we see? Like, what would be different? Like, what would we recognize? I'd be like, wow, like, this is his time. Like, is there a thing like that? Or does that even matter? Maybe it wouldn't even matter then, because you'd be like, oh, I have
You're overthinking
chemistry.
it, I think.
Yeah. But people do.
Yeah,
People do. It's like
they do. But for
even
yourself, it's
men.
really hard to play matchmaker for yourself,
Oh, I know. But
right?
even men, when they come to us, let's just say we get like a 40-year-old guy. I want to have a family. And I will not date anybody who's over 32. Because
Right,
they hear, it's like in the news, doctors say, da 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 da, geriatric pregnancy if you're
right.
over. Like, there's that whole,
Well, they know the clock's ticking, right? So
yeah,
if they're 32, they're like, oh, well, we're just going to want a baby tomorrow.
yeah.
Or if she's late 30s, yeah, that's definite. That's a really hard sell for a lot of the guys, right? Because they know, because they want to date them, they want to get to know them.
But I feel it's changed. Like, women, and not just women, men as well. Like, they are wanting families later. They're wanting to get
Hmm.
married later. They're wanting to have kids later. Like, people come to us and they've built a career, they've built an education where, when I was younger, everybody met up in school
Yeah,
and then you just kind of got married and built a family. It's not like that anymore. Now it's like you went to school, built a career, then you've decided, okay, now I'm going to have a
right,
family.
right. Well, I'm finding a lot of the women in their 30s, they're freezing eggs. They're doing
Yes.
things to not put so much pressure on guys, right?
I, but I feel like guys don't think about that. They don't recognize that. I mean, I don't know. Like, the clients that I've had, they're like, oh, well, but still. I mean, can I get younger?
Well, yeah,
Without
if you're
having
going to ask
frozen eggs?
somebody, it's
Yeah.
like handing a box of chocolates. They're going to pick the one they want,
Let me
right?
see that flavor card before
Yeah,
I decide. Yeah.
yeah. So what I find is the generation. So if someone's late 30s, then she's got to be open to dating someone a little older,
Yeah.
right? So because what's happening, and it happens in the 60 plus as well, people are dating outside their generation.
Yes. Because,
Six,
yeah, though, in their 60s, sometimes they want younger guys. And yeah.
exactly. So, you're dipping in different dating pools, right? So the 30-year-old dating pool gets dipped in by the 60-year-old guys, even.
Yeah. That's true.
Happens.
Everybody needs to stick to
Stick in their lane,
yeah, stick
right?
in your
Yeah.
lane. Let's section it off a little bit more. I guess it is all over the place.
It is.
But
And
do you
that's a
think that,
difficulty for people that are the baby boomers, right?
yeah,
Baby boomers, it's some of the difficulties it can be simply just that. People are dipping in the dating pool, and then you're like, I don't feel old.
yeah,
She looks old. He looks old. And then you get into things beyond that as to stage of life. Are you retired? Lots of time to travel, or are you still working? That's a big lifestyle's a big one.
I have a client. I think he's 78. He looks like he's about 55. And he's, oh, maybe I'd like somebody who's like 60-ish. But as soon as women see, they love his photo.
Hmm.
When they meet him, they love him. He's amazing. He's great. But the age, They're like, oh, in a couple of years I could be pushing him in a wheelchair or whatever. I don't want to be a caregiver. But you never know when someone's going to die. Like they could die first. You just
you know
don't
what?
know.
Yeah, I tell a lot of clients that sometimes even late 50s, like TikTok, let's get going because as soon as you hit 60, it's a different ball game, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, they are when you're chronological a certain age, it makes a big difference. But none of us are guaranteed anything,
No.
and you just never know. So you have to just seize the day and go for it.
Yeah. Do you feel like 20 years ago in matchmaking, like what were people getting in other lanes, or is that just the thing now? Is it bigger now?
Not like
No.
it is now.
I wonder
Definitely.
why. Just technology, social media, or
I don't know. Sometimes it depends on the
Botox?
wealthier the client, right?
More money and more Botox. Now everybody's like confused.
I
Yeah.
don't know. No rhyme or reason to it. But if you ask somebody what they want, they're going to tell you what they want.
Yeah. Do you ever tell anyone that they can't have that?
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. I couldn't take them on as a client.
Yeah. See, I've had a few people where I've said, I can't match you, or I don't think it's a fit, or I'm waitlisted. Sorry.
Well, and it could be just something simple. It doesn't have to be looks or
No. It could just.
anything about it. It just could be what they're asking for, their expectations.
I've had a person who said, I will only date someone who's into horse life, horse culture, everything horses. I was like, sorry.
Yeah, you'll be single in 10 years from now or whatever. Right?
This isn't Yellowstone.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
Do you feel like, or have you ever had parents get involved in matching their kids?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, just recently I had a mom who actually, the gal had called me because their parents want their kids to be happy. They want them to get married. They want grandkids, right? So that if whatever they can do to help the situation, they're gonna help.
Yeah.
But I had a gal, and she said I invited my mom, and the mom and I ended up.
She invited her mom.
She invited her mom.
Yeah.
And she came, and it was like mom and I were bonding and having a good old time, and it ended up, she's been out on several dates already, and my client was like, I feel like I'm talking to my mom, so it's kind of neat that the extra. Now I've met her mom. Now I really want to find somebody for her. Yeah.
Yeah. Meeting the parents, I feel like adds a little bit of pressure. Like, I find it confusing when the parents get involved.
Well, the good thing, she was hands off. She's hands off. But I've had some that are not.
Yes. Yeah. It's interesting. Like my son, even with, with me dating, now that he's older, he likes to make comments. And I feel like he's intuitive, but he's like a really good barometer. Like he can tell me what he likes and what he doesn't like. And he's honest. Like this person's a good person, but I don't think they're good for you because like he sees things that I don't see.
Right.
Which I'm like, wow, that's amazing. I like that. But also, I don't want him being my matchmaker. No, but, a lot of our clients, I feel like their parents aren't really doing it like that. Maybe because obviously my son and I, we're not here paying money to to match me. But when someone does come to us and their parents are involved, they know what they want. And I feel like there's almost like a timeline attached to it, especially with wanting, grandkids or.
Totally.
Yeah.
Or there's cultural, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, that is usually for the most part.
Yeah.
And in some cultures, though, too, you get the parents who are quite into their culture, but the kids are like, no, they want to date the total opposite.
I love it, too. I think it's amazing to just see them, especially if they haven't dated, to come out of their shell, to get that experience out. It's so nerve-wracking. And then to meet somebody and just feel like they're a little bit settled. Yeah. Finally. Yeah.
Last chapter, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us on the podcast today. And I'm so excited to have you be part of our team.
Thank you. Yes, I'm very excited myself. After matchmaking for 25 years, I'm really excited to help support you and yours.
It's awesome. Thank you.